You know, if a contract gets signed by the time this video is public on YouTube, then okay, we will take the L on that. In fact, it's better for everybody if the contract gets signed within the next few hours or so. But because I think there is a very likely chance that by the time this video is public on the internet, the contract will not be signed yet, we still have the possibility of talking about one of the ideas that has been circulating around Montreal Canadiens fan discourse the past few weeks here. But ever since the rumors and the updates as to how these two parties, the Bruins and goaltender Jeremy Swayman, are far apart, the idea that we're talking about in this video, yeah, it's still kind of there. So, we're talking about Jeremy Swayman once more. We had made a video about him just yesterday, actually, going over his apparent contract demands, and long story short, it's been big. I mean, the guy apparently is asking for $10 million, which is absolutely insane for a guy who is as young as he is. Obviously, Jeremy Swayman is good. But when was the last time a 25-year-old guy has gotten an 8-digit deal as a goalie? I mean, sure, Sergei Bobrovsky, Carey Price, these guys get those dollar amounts, but they had to work to earn it over a span of multiple years. Jeremy Swayman is a great goalie, yes, but he's only been in the NHL full-time for 3 seasons, so is that enough to go out there and justify an $8 million AAV? Or, excuse me, 8-digit AAV, 10+ million bucks on the dollar there. Of course, this is a really big amount. Jeremy Swayman is one of the better young goaltenders in the NHL. You can say it's worth it, you can say it's not, depending on the cap percentage and everything else in between. But either way, the optics are very damning, especially when you consider the salary cap situation of the Boston Bruins. They had just shelled out a bunch of money to Nikita Zadorov, they had just shelled out a bunch of money to Elias Lindholm, and if Jeremy Swayman is next up, hey, they just lost out on Linus Ullmark. What other choice do they have here? In fact, they lost out on Linus Ullmark before signing Jeremy Swayman, thus getting rid of a lot of their leverage. And we had talked about this in yesterday's video, but in this video I wanted to go over and revisit the offer sheet idea, because we had made a video about it earlier already, but the thing is, this offer sheet idea has not gone away in the slightest. If you go onto Twitter and you search the words Swayman offer sheet, you'll find a lot of people from all over the internet, and especially Canadiens fans, going out there and talking about how this is an option here. How because Jeremy Swayman is asking for such a high amount of money, there could be some sort of a team going out there and making the reins known for an offer sheet. There was an article on HabsSolomonFan.com by Samuel Doran that goes out there and talks about the Canadiens submitting a hostile offer to Jeremy Swayman. And what I like about this article is, sure, it goes out there and just uses a fan's comment on Facebook as a potential idea, but I do like the inclusion of the salary compensations and what this could look like if you're trying to handcuff the Boston Bruins into potentially giving you a goaltender. See, the thing is, Jeremy Swayman is asking for 10. The Boston Bruins are not willing to give him that, at least right now. So if you go over to the offer sheet compensation, if you wanted to go up to $10 million, the price for that is 2 first-round picks, a second, and a third. Now, would you pay 2 firsts, a second, and a third for Jeremy Swayman? I don't know, man. He's really good, but that's a lot of draft capital. You know, the thing is, though, for the Montreal Canadiens, if there's any team that probably has the capacity to overpay on prospects for a guy who is really good right now, you gotta think it's Montreal, right? Not to say that 2 seconds, a first, and a second is not valuable, but this is a team that has already a whole bunch of younger assets. Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Demidov, Doc Newhook, Josh Waugh, Owen Beck, Philip Mashar, not to mention on defense, Cayden Gooley, Logan Mailloux, David Reinbacher, Lane Hudson, Arbor Xhekaj, lot of younger guys, and it's getting to the point now where if the Montreal Canadiens don't have a hit in their upcoming NHL drafts, I don't think they're going to be in too bad of a spot. So if you wanted to say, okay, $10 million, maybe you even push it. Let's say you go to 11 point something million, because that's like the max that you could give for this compensation tier. Let's say the Canadiens offer sheet Jeremy Swayman at 11 point something mil. They get the thing done. In theory, they put Carey Price on the LTIR, which they probably don't want to do at this point in his career, but if it's in acquiring a guy like Jeremy Swayman, I think it would probably be okay to do that. They're $2 million over the salary cap right now, the Montreal Canadiens are, but if you put Price on the LTIR, you trade away maybe somebody else for a smaller amount of capital coming back, then it's probably fine. I mean, there are options for the Montreal Canadiens, and Kent Hughes is a pretty good cap wizard. You gotta start thinking about the possibilities here, because I think for Jeremy Swayman, he is so good. A huge upgrade over Montembeault, Primo, everybody else the Canadiens have had since Carey Price, pretty much, that all of a sudden, if you think about the cap going up, you honestly start to think that this might be worth it. It's just, do the Boston Bruins have the capacity to go out there and match? That's the ultimate question here. I think for the Bruins, they might not have predicted a guy like Jeremy Swayman to be in that territory where he's asking for so much, and just seeing some of the comments that have been made about him, or not about him, but by him, where it seems like he's kind of taken it a bit personally, too. I mean, Jeremy Swayman had an interview where he kind of talked about how, hey, other people are setting me up to fail. They don't want to see me betting on myself. And it's like, okay, I get where you're coming from, but man, you're asking for $10 million bucks. That's a lot of money right there. Of course, though, Jeremy Swayman does talk about how he went to the School of Business at the University of Maine, and the business side of it all, hey, he's trying to take advantage. That's capitalism 101, baby. If there's a team coming out here with a $10, $10.5, $11 million offer sheet, giving him the amount of money that he's asking for, does he sign it? Does he give the Boston Bruins an ultimatum? Hey, you're paying me this amount of money. If you're not, I'm yeeting off to Montreal. I'm yeeting off to some other team that's willing to give me that dollar amount. Is that something that you see likely, and is it something that you think the Montreal Canadiens should explore for the price of 2 firsts, a second, and a third? If you think that's overpaying, honestly, I mean, if you want to go one tier back, it's not that bad. Go over to the 9.010203 million AAV range. That's just 1 first, a second, and a third. I mean, if the Boston Bruins hang up on Jeremy Swayman is multiple millions of dollars away from $10 million, let's say the Bruins are only offering 7.5 and they can only go up to 8, then for a team like Montreal, if you just give up a first, a second, and a third, you could get this guy for 9, and then it's a little easier to put Price on the LTAR, maybe send somebody down, buy somebody out or whatever, like do something to free up that extra money, because, you know, Patty Laine is on the Canadiens now too with $8.7 million. That's a big contract in itself. There are a lot of options here, but I do think it's worth exploring. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the idea of a Swayman offer sheet that's still percolating around the internet, and how Montreal Canadiens fans seem to be talking about it a bunch too. Do you think this is possible? Do you think it's likely? Would you like to see this happen as well? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.